disarray of all the different organizations that were on scene, what was going on. I'm sitting there as a volunteer fireman with my group of 10 guys that we have here, and then we watch 2 coach buses of SPSA employees get loaded up and hit the road. And we're left there without answers. We rally back at a house in Creighton, and we don't know. We just watched all the provincial support jump on the highway and leave. And we're discussing ourselves, well, is that fire now approaching Creighton and we evacuated? We couldn't register ourselves as being present in Creighton at that point because there was nobody to register with. So we were unaccountable people sitting in this community, watching the provincial support go down the highway and not sure what to do, with no communication being given through our chief to us of where we fit into this whole thing.
Again, the leadership failed here,
The
hard.
road was good enough for you guys to.
Yeah, I was of the understanding that our ERT were still there, but if they weren't, or maybe they were, I don't know, but I mean, that is part of the after action review. But I was of the understanding that our ERT were still, when they left in air, they came to Creighton.
The ERT was there. They told me directly that there was a failure in the incident command system, and they're restructuring the incident command system, is what they told me directly, when I went to look for answers.
So the ERT were still here, but there was a breakdown, is what you said.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
And one person that was involved with the dinner beach fire was around, that I could see. I think Barry was, but he was the only one.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Robert Barry was there, but he was the only one that I could find that had anything to do with the dinner beach fires.
Okay, thank you.
Over here? Yeah.
So just in follow-up to my comment in regards to how are you going to properly determine where the downfalls were? Speaking with your own people is only going to give the SPSA picture. That does not reflect the community picture. What is the constructive way to be able to relay those information? I understand a passionate group like this is not the most valuable way to get that. What strategy to have moving forward? Where can we go to report our issues? We have a room full of volunteer firefighters that stood in front of that beast, and not just in Daenerys Beach, but also Creighton as well. What is their channel, and what is our channel as community members? Because that's where the value is, because as Ron has said many times, we can't fix what had happened. But there are so many flaws along the way. How can we help restructure so that the next wildfire comes through, whether it's here, whether it's Saskatchewan, Manitoba, I don't care where that may be. What does that look like? How do we relay the proper information to make sure that this never happens to someone else again? We feel like we've been through a war and we don't want anybody else to have to go through it.
I agree, and every one of, yours and everyone in this room, that experience matters. What you saw, what you heard, what you didn't see, that matters on how we can improve or change processes or do whatever we need to do so that we can mitigate and limit that situation happening again. We can't stop wildfires, we know that. I'm absolutely thinking of it, but I mean, we need to talk one-on-one. We need to talk in small groups, because you're right, big groups that's not really conducive to getting the understanding. So let me take that away, and if I can go through his worship with what that looks like, and whether it's small groups or individuals, let me bring that back, and I will give you my word.
That's on our website, but it doesn't necessarily, because like my personal story, I wouldn't sit down with the fire department and share it. And if you're lucky enough, maybe my husband would have shared this with volunteer firefighter, but probably not to the pride. We did what we had to do. We gave up our time and we did what we had to do to try to save our communities. And so he's never gonna mention it, right? So how give us, the general population, somewhere where we can go ahead and put our constructive points across. I understand you're going to get some points that maybe necessarily don't have the enriched value grant. It would be open up to the public, but that general modes of communication, whether it's online or further, I think that's the best place. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. Let me take that away. Thank you.
Do you have special services, sorry, do you have special services set up for firefighters or is there need?
We have a lot. We have CISM, we have a number of trained individuals, we have individuals within,
Ray,
within
do you feel one
SPSA.
is better?
And we also have contract individuals, so we will definitely support anybody that needs it. You know, we've got to support our firefighters, but also a lot of the volunteer firefighters. We can definitely, you know, direct them,
A lot
absolutely.
of them aren't gonna talk free.
Well, they don't have to talk to me. I mean,
No, not
They're not gonna do it freely.
There is help, and they're not gonna be freely willing to talk.
okay, there is a way to do, there is a mechanism that we can do, and let me take that away as well, because I can tell you from my experience that there are ways of supporting individuals that don't want to, you know, and in all fairness, you can show, you know, I'm gonna use myself as an example. I mean, I've been through a couple, you know, incidents where I have gone and I walked away from CISM training because it wasn't ready, I was not ready for it. So it really does come down to an individual choice, and knowing that sometimes you need help when you don't think you need help. So what I would suggest is